Revealed, Billionaire discovers little girl sleeping in park, her life-changing journey to his mentorship. Ethan Carter, a self-made billionaire known for his extensive philanthropic work, stood in the urban park, the sun casting a golden hue over the lush greenery. Today was no ordinary day. He was here to volunteer for a homeless outreach program, something he cherished deeply. But as he walked past the vibrant flowers and picnic gatherings, his gaze fell upon a small figure curled up on a weathered bench. It was an 8-year-old girl, her unkempt hair framing a face that wore a peaceful expression despite the dirt smudged on her cheeks. Clutched tightly in her tiny hands was a paint-splattered sketchbook, the edges frayed her lifeline to a world bursting with color and dreams. His heart sank. As a child raised in a community like hers, he felt a familiar pain in his chest, a painful reminder of sleepless nights and dreams too expensive to chase. He couldn't just walk past her, he had to help. Gently, Ethan knelt beside the girl, marveling at her delicate features and the way she seemed transported in a world of her own, a world where poverty held no sway. When she stirred awake, she blinked in surprise, looking up into his warm gaze. "Hi there. I'm Ethan. What's your name?" he asked softly. She hesitated, her big hazel eyes glinting with both curiosity and caution. "Lily," she finally whispered, clutching her sketchbook tighter. In that moment, she opened up about her life, a single-parent household where her mother was a waitress, juggling exhaustion with dreams deferred. But what struck Ethan the most was the way Lily spoke of her passion for art, her eyes lighting up as she talked about painting the world she saw in her mind. Instantly, he was hooked. This little girl had resilience, imagination, and a spark that reminded him of his own childhood struggles. He felt a fire ignite in him. He wanted to mentor her, to nurture her undeniable talent while also shining a light on the economic challenges plaguing families like hers. But as their bond deepened, whispers of disapproval arose among his affluent peers. At social gatherings, where silver spoons sparkled and laughter echoed, he faced judgment for his efforts. "It's just a phase," they'd say with cold smirks, blind to Lily's struggles, blind to the everyday trauma that accompanied poverty. Yet every moment he spent with her, the colors dancing on her canvas, the sound of her laughter reminded him why he'd begun this journey. During a lavish charity gala, he invited Lily as a special guest. Dressed in a delightful little dress, she was the embodiment of hope, yet amidst the laughter of high society, condescending comments sliced through the air like knives. As her cheeks flushed with embarrassment, Ethan felt his resolve hardening. He could not stand idly by. Just as he was about to pull her into a comforting embrace, his phone buzzed with a desperate call from Lily's mother. Her voice was shaking, worry dripping through every syllable. Threats of eviction were looming, casting a shadow over their future. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Determined to turn the tide, Ethan planned a community art exhibit, focusing on Lily's work. Her vibrant imagination was about to take flight for a cause bigger than themselves. The night drew near, mixing excitement with anxiety, the air thick with anticipation. Underneath the colorful lights, a tapestry of hope was being woven, yet a growing tension hung above them, where judgment and doubt simmered. As Lily stood by her artwork, a blend of anxiety and excitement radiating from her, Ethan wrestled with his thoughts. Could they truly bridge the divides between wealth and need? Just as the evening began, an argument erupted at the entrance, the sound slicing through the hopeful atmosphere like a winter storm. Glances exchanged, breaths caught in throats. Could this evening of dreams shatter before their eyes, or would it lead them on a path to understanding, resilience, and hope? Ethan's heart raced as he turned toward the entrance, where the voices were rising, sharp and angry. He recognized the figures at the center of the commotion: his business partner, Tom, and a local activist known for her passionate speeches about community rights. They were locked in a heated debate, their words weaving a tapestry of tension that hung heavy over the exhibit. "Lily deserves this opportunity," Ethan interjected, stepping forward to face Tom. He felt an overwhelming urge to defend the girl who had sparked a light in his life. "You can't let your pride blind you to her potential." Tom scoffed, brushing off Ethan's remarks. "It's not about pride, Ethan. It's about priorities. Charity doesn't mean showcasing a childlike fantasy in a place that thrives on high art and elite taste. You're risking everything for one girl." Lily glanced up at Ethan, her expressive eyes wide with worry. Seeing the unease on her face stabbed at his core. He bent down slightly, bringing his shoulders into her line of sight, whispering, "You are not just a fantasy, Lily. You're my priority." The argument raged on, others now joining the fray, their voices mixing with gasps and disapproving murmurs. Some guests in their tailored suits wore frowns, whilst others edged closer, eager to witness the unfolding drama. The delicate atmosphere they had worked so carefully to create threatened to collapse under the weight of this confrontation. In the turmoil, Lily clutched her sketchbook, her hands trembling. The art she had poured her heart into was on display, and she could sense the looming threat. Recognizing her shattering innocence, Ethan straightened himself, feeling the strength of determination flooding his veins. He had to ensure Lily felt safe, seen, and heard without compromise. "Everyone," he called, his voice steady cutting through the chaos. The crowd turned to face him, curiosity laced with skepticism. "This exhibit isn't about wealth or prestige. It's about raw talent. It's about the truth of struggle and beauty." His gaze swept to Lily, and he continued, "This is art born from hardship. It's real. And it deserves as much respect as any work here." Lily's gaze met his, her eyes shimmering with a mix of fear and fragile hope. She took a deep breath, straightening her back. The little girl with a dream was no longer just a shadow in a fancy gallery, she was taking her place. As the conversations shifted, murmurs of agreement started sparking amongst some attendees, others still held their skepticism. Just then, from the back of the crowd, a well-dressed woman raised her glass, smiling brightly. "Let us see what this girl has created." Her enthusiasm was infectious, and soon more voices joined, echoing support. Ethan felt a swell in his chest. They could turn this around. Hope flooded his veins. But just then, the flashing lights of cameras caught his eye sharply. The media, those ever-watchful harbingers of gossip, began to turn their lenses toward the scene. "Ethan, how are you dealing with accusations of exploiting a child for profit?" A reporter shouted, capturing the moment as if ready to erupt into scandal. Ethan's pulse quickened. This was a new battle, one that could threaten everything they worked for. How would he protect Lily not only from the judgments of society but now also from the unforgiving eye of the press? With Lily beside him, he felt the weight of the world pressing down. Only the future could answer whether they would rise above the noise or be drowned by it. He turned to Lily, surprised to find her standing taller now. Maybe, just maybe, together they could redefine what it meant to stand up for each other. "Lily," he whispered fiercely. "Are you ready to show them who you really are?" The soft nod she gave held the promise of courage. Little did either of them know, the night had only just begun, and its true test was still waiting in the wings. The moment hung heavy in the air, a blend of anticipation and fear that crackled like electricity between Ethan and Lily. He watched the way her small frame braced itself against the storm of voices, and he couldn't help but admire her bravery. This was her stage now, and she was ready to step into the light. "Let us show them what you've created, okay?" Ethan urged, his voice barely more than a whisper. With each passing second, the thrumming heartbeat of the crowd grew louder. Ethan took a step back, releasing a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. He felt the warmth of the spotlight shift slightly, illuminating Lily's nervous smile, highlighting the small imperfections in her sketches, each one a testament to what she had overcome. "Let us start by looking at her art," he called out, not ready to give in to the press or the whispers threatening to eclipse this moment. He gestured toward the canvas backgrounds hanging behind them, vibrant colors splashing across the gallery. "These pieces tell a story. A story of resilience, courage, and hope." Lily's face brightened, and for a moment, the burden of expectation fell away. She stepped forward, her sketchbook still clutched to her chest. She held it like a shield, but now it looked more like a treasure chest filled with dreams. The crowd seemed to lean in, intrigued. "What do you want to tell us?" Ethan encouraged gently. Taking a deep breath, Lily opened her sketchbook. The pages fluttered like wings, revealing images of the park where she spent afternoons, the embrace of nature, the laughter of children. Each drawing was a piece of her heart laid bare for the world to see. "They're about the place I love," she said, her voice trembling just a little as she spoke more confidently. "It's where I can breathe and where I dream." Ethan watched as some in the crowd softened, glimmers of understanding breaking through their hardened expressions. He saw nods of acknowledgement, whispers of realization, shifting attitudes. This was powerful, more powerful than anything he'd felt before. But just as a wave of hope began to swell, a sharp voice cut through, one that echoed like an unwelcome alarm. "This isn't art, it's child's play. You're all being fooled." A figure in the back, a snooty art critic known for shooting down newcomers, stood glaring. The room buzzed again with doubt. Ethan felt his stomach drop. Criticism wasn't supposed to touch this moment. He turned to Lily, whose eyes searched his face for reassurance. There was a plea in her gaze, as if she wanted to ask him if it really mattered what that critic thought. "Every person has an opinion," he said quietly, his heart racing. "But your art is still worth it, Lily. They can't take your passion away. Show them what this means to you." With her chin lifted, Lily regrouped. She pointed to a drawing that was a sprawling landscape of the park during sunset, the hues of orange and pink blending like a dream. This is what freedom feels like for me," she said, her voice now steady, echoing through the room. "It's not just art. It's my world." A hush fell over the crowd. Ethan could see movement in the corners of their eyes as they took a collective inhale, digesting her words. Perhaps they had underestimated her. Perhaps they hadn't realized. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he spotted the media huddle tightening, cameras zooming in closer, capturing moments that could twist their narrative into something darker. It dashed through his mind that this moment could spiral out of control at any second. It could shift into a frenzy. "Lily," he said in a rush, "let's take a break from here for a second, okay? We'll come back to this." His mind was racing about how to turn this tide, to protect her still fragile spirit. Just as he reached out to guide her away, another voice spoke up from the gallery, an unexpected ally. "Wait. Let us hear her out." Ethan felt hope spark again, uncertainty swirling within him. Who stood to defend her? Who might be ready to amplify this young girl's voice over the din? As murmurs of support began to rise, Ethan glanced over at Lily. He wondered if they had enough strength to withstand this storm, or whether they were stepping into deeper waters than they had anticipated. "Keep your chin up," he whispered, holding her gaze. He could almost hear the heartbeat of the crowd. Was it turning in their favor, or was it poised for chaos? With the night pushing forward, he knew the real battle was about to unfold, and the larger questions loomed ahead. Would they manage to garner the support they desperately needed, or were they standing on the precipice of an even greater crisis? Ethan's heart raced as he glanced around the room. The previously hushed murmurs began to build into a chorus of conversation, a wave of unease that rolled through the audience. Who was this new voice? What would it mean for their fragile momentum? "Let her speak." The voice called out again, cutting through the anxiety like a beacon in a storm. It belonged to an older woman with silver hair pulled back in a bun, her brow furrowed but eyes sparkled with empathy. Art is subjective. We all felt that yearning for a place where we can be free. Lily looked up, visibly shaken but intrigued. This was no longer just her fight, it felt like a shared battle, and the warmth of empowerment ignited within her chest. Exactly. She found her voice again, stronger this time. Art is how I express the things I can't put into words. It helps me heal. Grassroots enthusiasm filled the air as others shifted in their seats, nodding along, their arms uncrossing as they leaned in. Ethan felt a surprising swell of pride as he watched Lily transform. She was no longer just a child holding her sketches, she was an artist standing in her truth. For a moment, he was carried away by the vision of her future, filled with possibilities he only dared to dream about. "Thank you for saying that." A young man called from near the front. "I always felt confused by art, but hearing you makes it clearer. Your work is real." Encouraged, Lily pointed to another drawing, this one depicting her favorite tree in the park, laden with blossoms. "This tree? It has stories. I can hear the whispers of all who sat beneath it. It's a sanctuary." She took a deep breath, stepping further into herself as if she were stepping into the light. Art is the language of the soul. It connects us. The older woman smiled, clapping her hands gently. And how many times did we forget to listen to our souls? She looked around the gallery, her gaze meeting the eyes of critics and casual onlookers alike. Perhaps, sometimes, we need a child to remind us. A profound sense of unity blossomed and filled the room, as voices began to mingle. The cynicism and harsh critiques from moments ago began to dissipate, giving way to admiration and recognition. Every response swirled in tandem, a budding tide of acceptance washing over Lily. But just when momentum seemed to reach a peak, the critic made his presence known again, his voice slicing through the growing warmth. "This is not the question here. What you're seeing is merely the innocence of youth. It's not serious art. It's nostalgia wrapped in childish fantasy." Lily's face paled as the critic's words hit her like a cold wave, dousing her newfound confidence. "No," Ethan whispered urgently. "You've come so far. You can't let him sway you." She swallowed hard. Ethan stepped closer, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. "Remember what you said? It's your world, Lily. No one can take that from you. Not him, not anyone." With a renewed spark in her eyes, Lily looked out over the crowd, searching for something in their faces. She could see disbelief and hope, resentment and curiosity mingling in their expressions. "This," she said, her voice ringing out clear and determined, "is only the beginning." Ethan was on the edge of his seat as Lily switched gears, her excitement contagious. With newfound resolve, she continued, "I may be young, but I believe art can change lives. I want to create more pieces that tell stories of love, and loss, and the beauty found even in the smallest things." Cheers erupted from the audience, a wave of applause washing over her. But that critic's shadow loomed large, promising to stir discord again. The camera flashes began again, this time with renewed context, not just capturing momentary glory but framing the beginning of a journey. Ethan felt a knot of anxiety in his stomach as he watched the reporter perk up, ready to spin her story. "Lily, let them see you," he urged, needing her to face whatever was coming next. Everyone held their breath, witnessing a girl ready to embrace her world without fear. What would happen when the reality of those captured moments met that hard lens of scrutiny? As Lily's eyes widened with determination, Ethan realized the next chapter hadn't fully written itself yet. What would unfold when the world began to dig deeper into who they really were? As Lily stood poised under the spotlight, Ethan braced himself, knowing the true test was still ahead. The energy in the gallery was electric as Lily embraced the moment, her voice echoing with belief. She could feel the warmth of the crowd wrapping around her like a comforting blanket, but beneath that, a chill of doubt lingered, whispering threats that threatened to steal her confidence. Look, she began, her gaze drifting over various faces, from the curious to the skeptical. Art is like breathing for me. It's how I see the world. It's bright and beautiful, messy and dark. It's real. A few members of the audience exchanged glances, their skepticism wavering as if Lily's honesty was breaking through barriers they long erected. The critic, however, remained steadfast in his resolve. But can you truly expect us to regard childhood sketches as significant? He challenged, eyes narrowing, ready to pounce on her evasions. The audience shifted, discomfort hanging thick in the air. Lily held her breath, sensing that familiar knot of anxiety returning. She caught Ethan's reassuring gaze, and with a deep breath, she pressed on. Maybe what we need is a little childlike wonder, she said, voice stronger. We often forget that art isn't just about technique or tradition. It's about connection. Applause erupted again, and for a moment, the critic fell silent. But a moment was all it took for him to regroup, as he burst forth again, this time louder. This is simply an exhibition of sentimentality. You'd have us all believe that scribbles are the answer to life's questions. Lily felt her heart sink. Was he right? Perhaps the weight of his words was too heavy to bear. Lily, don't let him get to you, Ethan whispered, his voice steady and reassuring. Remember why you started. It's not just about them. It's about you, and everyone who feels lost. She wanted to believe him. But doubt lingered like fog, clouding her certainty. The room was tense, a palpable hold on breath as everyone watched for her response. The critic was relentless, ready to pounce, sensing weakness. Childhood is fleeting, and art based on fleeting moments can hardly stand the test of time. Her resolve began to slip as she thought of her sketches, countless hours spent pouring her heart onto the page. And what if he was right? But then she thought of the silver-haired woman who had defended her, of the other voices that celebrated her truth. This wasn't just her moment, it was a movement. With a flicker of determination igniting in her eyes, she pushed the doubt aside. Maybe you're right. It is simple, she replied, her voice steadying. But simplicity has power. Looking at things through a lens of childlike wonder can open our hearts and minds. She stepped forward, drawing the audience in as she went on. Art doesn't judge. It doesn't care about pedigree or status. It's a defense against hopelessness. It can speak what we can't say. The applause erupted once more, a roar of acknowledgement this time. The critic seemed taken aback, his expression wavering between surprise and disdain. And I'll keep creating. Because that's what's true to me, she concluded, her eyes sparkling with an unwavering resolve. But as the applause faded, the tension was far from over. In the back of the room, a low murmuring began. Whispers circulated, questions bubbling to the surface. What would happen next? How would they interpret this bold stand? Hope and fear danced a delicate balance in the room. With one final glance at Ethan, she felt the weight lift. This was not merely about defending her art, it was about standing for her truth. With renewed confidence, Lily turned to face the crowd once more. Let us create a world where everyone can express themselves. Where art is celebrated every single voice. Ethan felt a tightness in his throat, joy invading the space within him. But as murmurs grew louder, he sensed a storm brewing beneath the surface. As the critic squared his shoulders, determination gleaming in his eyes, Ethan wondered would Lily's words be enough to deflect the judgment about to come? What fallout awaited them in the wake of her powerful proclamation? Lily's heart raced as she faced the audience, a mixture of exhilaration and anxiety dancing in her chest. The applause had faded, yet the air crackled with a different energy now. She sensed the shift, a new kind of tension simmering beneath the surface. The critic stood before her, preparing to unleash whatever he had left. Very well, he started, his tone dripping with condescension. You speak of connection, yet you stand here with a collection of doodles. How can you claim that art is a defense against hopelessness when it offers no substance? As those words sliced through the air, a hush fell over the gallery. Lily could see shifting faces, some nodding along with the critic, while others crossed their arms in defiance, as if to say they believed in her. She could feel Ethan's gaze, steady and unwavering, rooting her to the present. "What if I told you," she replied, bringing her voice to a slow, deliberate calm, "that the most profound truths often lie in simplicity? Take a moment and think of how a child sees the world. They create not to impress but to express what they feel." Lily stepped closer to the crowd, igniting a spark of courage. A hand slipped into hers, a small gesture of support. She glanced down to see the silver-haired woman from before, smiling encouragingly. Art isn't defined by what it seems but by how it makes us feel. Remember that joy. She raised her arm, gesturing at the vibrancy of her paintings, can come from the most innocent places. A ripple of murmurs passed through the audience, curiosity painted across their faces. Yet, the critic refused to back down. "And then, what? We all doodle our way through life?" "Yes," she declared, determination coursing through her. "Why not? Isn't it the doodles that remind us of the laughter and the chaos, the unfiltered joy of being alive? We lose too much when we abandon that spirit." This time, a genuine wave of applause followed her words, echoing off the walls of the gallery. Lily took a breath, riding the wave of hope washing over her. But the critic still stood firm, an immovable wall. What about craft? What about the art that has withstood the test of time? He challenged, brows furrowing deeper. Isn't that what we all grapple with? She posed, her voice gaining strength as she pushed through the doubt. We all long for timelessness. Yet, sometimes, it's the fleeting moments that teach us the most. We stay so focused on outcomes, on mastery, that we forget to enjoy the magic of the process itself. Lily felt the energy shift once more, nods of understanding began to ripple through the crowd. Faces softened, caught in her spell. Art was a conversation, not a competition, a bridge rather than a wall. In embracing our inner child, we might just reconnect with our true selves, she added, her voice echoing with authenticity. Let the laughter, the mistakes, the spontaneity, be our guide. There is beauty in being lost sometimes. The critic scoffed, but even he seemed momentarily caught off guard by her conviction. Just as she felt a glimmer of victory, the silver-haired woman raised her hand, breaking the momentary silence. It's time we all recognize art doesn't just imitate life, it reflects it. Lily is right. Every artist has a voice worth hearing. Encouraged by the unexpected ally, the crowd erupted into applause once more. Yet, just as Lily began to bask in this surge of triumph, a voice emerged from the back, deep and authoritative. But what happens when that voice is silenced? All heads turned, concern painted on their faces. Who had spoken? As anticipation swelled in the room, the critic's expression morphed into a sinister grin. Lily's heart raced as a wave of uncertain energy washed over her. Was this truly the end, or merely the beginning of an even greater battle? The crowd's attention pulsed with a collective curiosity, spiraling around the voice that loomed from the shadows. A tall figure stepped into the light, an older gentleman clad in a tailored suit, his eyes gleaming with a mix of authority and something deeper. The critic's smirk widened, as if he had just received an unexpected ally. Who are you? Lily felt the weight of every eye in the gallery as the critic's words hung like a heavy fog. Doubt clawed at her insides, but she pushed it down, calling on the fire within her. She had to answer him, had to embody the truth she was trying to express. Reality is tough, she said, her voice calm but ringing with conviction. It's a storm we all face. But we can't just resign ourselves to the dark. Art is a bridge, not just to the light, but to understanding that we share these struggles together. The crowd began to murmur again, some nodding in recognition. She noticed a woman in the front row, tears shimmering in her eyes. Art can transform pain into beauty, Lily continued, shifting her gaze toward the older man in the tailored suit. And if I can touch just one person, show one heart it's not alone, then that essay start. The tailored man smiled slightly, stepping forward in the light a little more. That's the spirit. But how do you plan to do that? Taking a deep breath, she gestured to the red hues swirling on her canvas, capturing the essence of struggle and hope. This piece isn't just paint on a canvas. It reflects the tangled emotions we all endure. I want people to see it and feel something, anything, even discomfort. I want them to engage with what's real. Feel? The critic scoffed, voice dripping with skepticism. Feeling without action is just sentimentality. What difference does it make if you can't change lives? A spark ignited in her chest. She stepped forward, grounding herself. You're right. Art alone isn't enough, but it can be the catalyst. It can inspire change, create movements. It can prompt conversations that lead to action. That's my purpose. The crowd sat on the edge of their seats, caught between admiration and uncertainty. Lily's heart raced. What she was saying held weight, it carried the dreams of so many who felt unheard. Ethan stepped forward, sensing her swell of emotion. If anyone can spark that change, it's her. He thumped a fist to his chest. This is about more than art. It's about community, connection, and compassion. Small cheers erupted from a few enthusiastic voices, while the older man nodded, a fierce pride showing in his expression. The ignorant critic sneered, but it felt less threatening now, more like a bass tremor within the room, a dull ache that couldn't extinguish the flame. This is where we can start, Lily said, her voice ringing clear. Change requires togetherness. Let our hearts align through the stories we share, the truths we showcase. I'm not just painting to exhibit, I'm painting to connect, to reach out. If everyone here leaves with this in mind, art becomes more than art. It becomes action. Her words hung in the air, rich and vibrant as her canvases. The audience's reaction was palpable, a wave of hope rippling through the space. She locked eyes with the older man, searching for validation. Then the critic broke the moment with a disapproving shake of his head, eyebrows raised. Nice words, Lily, but you'll need way more than that to convince a disillusioned world. Her heart sank a little, but the supportive murmurs from the crowd held her up. Maybe it's not about convincing everyone, she countered, voice steady now. Maybe it's about finding the ones who are ready to listen, who want to change. And when they see that bridge, we can walk together. But before she could continue, she noticed something across the gallery, a young girl standing alone near her painting, wide-eyed and entranced. The gasps around the room faded into whispers as they turned to see her. Who is she? Someone murmured. Why is she here? Another wondered. Lily froze, feeling a sudden pull within her. The girl looked so small against the backdrop of her large artwork, a flicker of innocence amid the swirling chaos of adult expectations. Something clicked in Lily's mind. This child was her reason, a living embodiment of what she fought for. The warmth in her chest ignited again, and she knew she couldn't ignore the significance. Wait! Lily called out, stepping from the gathering crowd. I need to speak to her. This is part of what I'm trying to express. As she made her way towards the girl, every step felt weighted with emotion. What was the connection she felt? And what could this unexpected encounter lead to? Little did she know, this moment would change everything, not just for her, but for the world surrounding them both. Lily approached the girl, her heart racing as she offered a gentle smile. The child remained mesmerized by the swirling colors of the painting, her eyes wide with wonder. Lily knelt down to meet her gaze, feeling that fragile barrier of childhood protectiveness wrap around them both. Hi there, she said softly, as if speaking to a fragile bird. What do you see? The girl didn't flinch or look away, her little finger pointing at the deep crimson spreads across the canvas. "It's messy. But it's beautiful." Lily's chest swelled with warmth. "It is messy, isn't it? Just like life can be. But there's beauty in it, too." "What makes you say that?" The girl tilted her head, brow furrowing in thought. "It feels like it's alive. Like it's telling a story." Lily's breath caught for a moment, realizing that the child understood more than she let on. "What story do you think it's telling?" The girl pointed to the darker areas of the canvas. "See? That part's sad. But it gets brighter over here, like hope, I think." A rush of emotion overwhelmed Lily. Here was this little one, parsing through feelings that often escaped even the adults in the crowd. "You have a gift," she said, her voice thick with gratitude. "You see the connection between pain and hope." The murmurs coming from the gallery began to fade away as others approached. Like a ripple effect, they peered down at the girl, curious and captivated. The critic, arms crossed tight, looked on with an eyebrow raised, intrigued despite himself. Lily gestured for those nearby to come closer. "This is what we're talking about. This child sees the themes that transcend our individual struggles. Art connects us, it's a universal language." As she spoke, the warmth felt electric, spreading throughout the gallery. She could see nods and soft smiles as onlookers leaned into this moment. Abigail, she introduced herself with barely a whisper, had ignited something deeper than Lily had anticipated. "What's your name?" Lily asked, gently brushing a curl behind the girl's ear. "Abigail," she answered, beaming up at her. "Abigail," Lily echoed, delight filling her voice. "You've inspired me today. You've shown me that art is more than just colors and canvases. It's about reaching hearts." A small round of applause erupted from the crowd, and to Lily's surprise, the once skeptical critic was now chuckling softly to himself. Lily turned to him, the fire reigniting within her. This is what art can do. It can touch and transform. A single voice can resonate with many. Something shifted in the air, a faint crack of understanding. Even if the critic held his defenses up, she could see it flickering in his eyes, the walls of cynicism softening. "Do you see now?" she asked him, feeling buoyed by the moment. "When we share our truths, it can awaken something in others. It's not sentimentality, it's genuine witness. We hold the power to change with our stories." And yet, even as she pressed forward, a pang of uncertainty crept in. Would this young connection lead to more? Would it inspire action beyond this moment? Suddenly, Abigail took 2 steps back, glancing nervously at her surroundings. "Are you my friend?" she asked, her voice small. Lily's heart twisted at the question. It was simple yet profound. "Of course. I'm here, and I want to be your friend. Can I help you paint?" Abigail's eyes sparkled with possibility. "A partner in art?" Lily laughed lightly, a surge of inspiration flooding her. "Absolutely. You can help me tell even more stories." As genuine laughter and warmth spread through the crowd, the energy shifted entirely from doubt to curiosity. There were nods and soft conversations about what art could do, and how they might join in this conversation. Just then, Lily spotted Ethan smiling brightly, his faith in her finally mirrored in the audience's reaction. But as the applause quieted, something in her gut told her this was only the beginning. A child with a brush in her hand could change everything if they could find a way to paint together. Would this overwhelming connection lead to a new path for them both? With the crowd starting to disperse, Lily realized she had a choice to make. Would she take the leap into the unknown, to meld her art with Abigail's vision, and perhaps usher in a movement she never anticipated? But before she could answer the question, another figure caught her attention, a tall man with a camera. His presence felt different, charged with an intensity that made Lily's heart flutter. Who was he, and what role would he play in this unfolding journey? As the evening progressed, Lily found herself buoyed by the warmth of connection. The audience, once skeptics, now found their hearts drawn into the tapestry of her words and art. Yet, amid the applause, she noticed that familiar figure, the tall man with the camera hovering at the edge of the gallery, eyes intent on her every move. She pushed that thought aside for now, focusing instead on Abigail, her newfound friend. "Would you really help me paint?" Lily asked, excitement bubbling within her. Abigail nodded vigorously, her face a joyous picture of possibility. "Let us make art together," Lily declared, her heart racing with inspiration. This child had sparked a flame, they could create magic as collaborators. The gallery hummed with energy, and Lily turned to the crowd. "Tonight isn't just an exhibit. It's a call for us all to connect. Let us transform our experiences into art." The room echoed with murmurs of agreement, the shadow of doubt replaced with a tangible sense of unity. Just then, the man with the camera stepped forward, his interest piqued. "Can I get an interview?" he asked, his voice clear above the chatter. "I've been following your journey from the beginning." Lily's heart raced. "Sure. I'd love to share more about our vision." He set up his equipment swiftly, capturing the moment. "What do you want people to take away from this?" he inquired, the lens focused intently on her. "Art is a bridge, not just a canvas," she replied, feeling the weight of every word. "It connects our stories and reminds us we're not alone. I want everyone to know they can create and express themselves despite whatever struggle they face." He nodded earnestly, mesmerized. "That's a powerful message. And what's next for you and Abigail?" Lily's smile widened, looking down at the little girl, still bubbling with enthusiasm. "We want to invite everyone in this community to share their stories through art. Let us create a mural, where every voice can be heard, every experience can be painted." The idea took flight in the room, whispers of excitement rising like a tide. "A community mural?" someone exclaimed. "That would be incredible." "Yes." Lily cheered, the vision rapidly crystallizing in her mind. "Let us gather stories and paint them, filling our town with hope and resilience." The crowd clapped, voices rising in support. Ethan stepped closer, his expression beaming with pride. "I'll help coordinate. We can gather supplies, and everyone can contribute their piece of art." The energy felt electric, they were on the brink of something monumental. But amid the joy, a flicker of apprehension still danced at the back of Lily's mind. What if it fell through? What if her vision faded? Yet, in this moment, buoyed by her friends and newfound allies, she felt the courage to plunge forward. "Together, we can foster change," she exclaimed, raising her arms high. The room erupted in applause, a chorus of belief washing over her. But just as the enthusiasm threatened to spill over, the critic edged forward again, a smirk twisting his lips. "All this talk of community is lovely, but where's the substance in those dreams? You may inspire for a moment, but can you maintain momentum? Can your art withstand the realities outside these walls?" Before Lily could respond, the silver-haired woman stepped up beside her. "That's an excellent point," she began, voice steady. "But art doesn't have to be a singular act, it thrives in dialogue. This mural could symbolize a continuous conversation, a commitment to keeping those dreams alive." Lily felt emboldened by the support. "Exactly. Every brushstroke will tell a story, reminding us that our narratives matter. We just need to keep creating, to keep engaging." And as the crowd began to rally around the idea, she glanced once more at the camera guy, catching his eye as he filmed the fervor enveloping the space. His serious demeanor softened, and Lily caught a glimmer of respect in his gaze. "Let us not just create art," she chimed, hope radiating through her voice. "Let us create a movement, a community of dreamers united under this shared mission." The applause roared once more, echoing off the walls, a sense of momentum filled the air as people began discussing ways to support the mural project. Each conversation held the promise of connection, stitching new bonds between the once distanced individuals in the gallery. As Lily and Abigail stood together at the center of it all, something profound dawned on her. This wasn't just about a little girl's talent or a wealthy benefactor's support, this was about a community rediscovering its heartbeat through art. Together, they would break barriers and create something bigger, something beautiful. Lily looked around at the friends she had made that night, and her heart felt full. She was no longer just a little girl with a sketchbook, she was a vessel of hope, ready to spark a transformation inside and outside her world. And in that pivotal moment, under a canopy of dreams and promises, she made a silent vow to carry the voices of those yet unheard. This was their beginning. As the gallery buzzed with chatter and excitement, Lily's thoughts raced. She had arrived at a threshold where art and empathy collided, and she would step boldly into the unknown. With her spirit high and Abigail by her side, she knew they would embrace the chaos, the beauty, and the story yet to unfold. Now was the moment for action, and she was ready to paint a brighter future. Would she and her community endure the challenges ahead? There was only one way to find out. As she shared her vision with Ethan, the media buzzed around them, framing this legacy of art and hope in a new light. And as the night wore on, the foundations of something remarkable were being laid, where dreams and realities intertwined. This was their moment. Remember, the journey for transformation starts right here. If you believe in the power of art, community, and connection, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share the message. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this incredible journey. Let us celebrate every voice. And don't wait not even one more second to share this powerful video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us spread hope and creativity.